Let's talk about Russell Wilson, who was named the starter by Mike Tomlin for my Pittsburgh Steelers. He's named the starting quarterback. So here's the thing. When the Steelers added Russell Wilson back in March, 1 year deal that pays him a little over $1 million, I had very mixed emotions about it. For obvious reasons from Russell's recent play in the last really 3 seasons, going back to his last year in Seattle, his disastrous first year in Denver, and a somewhat misleading stat line in his second season with Sean Payton. I'm like, don't know about this. But then I also looked at the other side of that coin and said, yeah, but he's better than Kenny Pickett, Mason Rudolph, who played well, by the way, but he's still Mason Rudolph. He's still a backup, and he's much better than Mitch Trubisky. So in that regard, I was okay with it. And then I like the fact that Steelers added some competition. Quarterback from the Chicago Bears with high upside, great mobility, not a terribly accurate passer or decision maker, but mobile, can make a play here or there. Justin Fields. And I said this back late July, early August, whenever I did this topic about who's going to win the Steelers quarterback battle. I always felt like it should be Russ, because Russ has been better lately than Justin Fields. We could show you the numbers. Russell's been the better player. It's certainly a season ago he was. Russell Wilson, 200 more total yards, not passing. Because the thing about Justin Fields, what he can do with his feet, Russell is not that guy they used to be in terms of his mobility, but Russell still had 200 more yards, total yards than Justin Fields. He had 9 more total touchdowns than Fields. He had 1 fewer interception despite playing more games than Justin Fields. 66 to 61% completion. Russell was better, much better passer rating, 98 to 86, and a better record, 7-8 versus Justin Fields, 5-8. So a season ago, Russell was the better player. Now, conventional wisdom would tell you Russell should be on the decline and Fields should be getting better. I'm not totally ruling out that possibility because Fields is going into year 4. Russell's going into year 13. He should be on the decline. Frankly, he is. We've seen what he's been the last few seasons. But to me, the plan, the smart one, at least for the Steelers, has always been and should be. And I don't know if Tomlin's taking this. I don't know if Omar Khan is taking this into account. I would not throw out the possibility that they are. Is that Russell's not going to be the longest. Even if Russell Wilson has a year replicative of his 2020 season, when he got off to a blistering start, was tearing up the whole league, throwing 4 touchdowns, 5 touchdowns, and then tailed off badly at the end, and Seattle goes out in round 1 against the LA Rams. If Russell Wilson's that, he probably gets he almost certainly gets a contract extension, because that would, in all likelihood, be good enough to get the Steelers to the playoffs. It'd be better quarterback play than what we saw from the entire quarterback room combined a year ago. But Russell Wilson is still, 35 years old, 36 years old? He doesn't have a whole lot longer left in the league. Certainly doesn't have many high-end years left in the league. I'm not sure he has any high-end years left in the NFL. Justin Fields, from what we've seen in Chicago, what we see the highlights, we see the long touchdown runs, we see the occasional good deep ball throw, but is he good in the intermediate routes? No. Is he a good decision maker with the ball? No. Is he consistent? No. I think, at least I view the Chicago Bears now adding Caleb Williams, albeit with added talent with Rome Odunze, with DeAndre Swift, with Keenan Allen, as a potential playoff contender this coming season. I'm not sure. As good as the NFC this year, I'm not so sure I'd feel that way if Justin Fields were still the Chicago Bears quarterback, even with those additions. What the Pittsburgh Steelers should do, and I think this is going to end up being their strategy, whether they realize it now or not. Russell Wilson will and should start, again, this is all health permitting, knock on wood for Russell Wilson. Health permitting should start the entire season. Now, what will happen out of that? 6 wins, 7 wins, 10 wins, playoffs, who knows? I mean, the optimistic Steelers fan, of which I lean a little bit more pessimistic in terms of the quarterback situation, but an optimistic Steelers fan would say, are you kidding me? We had one of the worst quarterback rooms in the league a year ago. We won 10 games, made the playoffs in the toughest division of the league. True, but you also have to factor in Joe Burrow was hurt. And both Steelers wins against the Bengals last year came against Jake Browning, who, by the way, did a pretty good job in Joe Burrow's absence, but Jake Browning's no Joe Burrow. We know that. Joe Burrow's back healthy. Lamar Jackson, the Ravens, lost some pieces. I'll get to my AFC North and NFC North weaknesses at the end of the show. Still Lamar Jackson, still John Harbaugh, still a solid football operation over there in Baltimore. And Cleveland, for their quarterback woes, very well coached, got some playmakers, particularly on the defensive side of the football. The Steelers could make up for that if they had an elite player at the quarterback position. They obviously do not have that. Russell Wilson should play the entirety of this season. Justin Fields will be in. Mike Tomlin, according to Rich Eisen, who said today, Mike Tomlin texted Raheem Morris, who's the head coach of the Falcons, who Pittsburgh will be playing in week 1, and said, get ready for some Justin Fields packages. Like that's going to be something that we're going to use, which I think they should. Justin Fields is too good of a player to just leave on the bench for no reason at all. What you do is you play Russ. He's on a 1-year contract. Low risk, high reward potentially. You get what you get out of Russ, 7 to 10 wins. You let Russ walk. You extend Justin Fields, and you sign Dak Prescott. And you either keep Justin Fields as Dak's backup, because Justin Fields is a very good backup quarterback in this league. Low-end starter, high-end backup is where I've got him. Or you move him for better pieces. That's what I thought the Cowboys were going to do with Trey Lance. Use him in some packages here and there, and don't really play him much. Don't show him off that much. And then move him for more than what you got him for, which was a 4th-round pick. That's not what they did because the Cowboys aren't very good at making football decisions. The Steelers are. You keep Justin Fields your backup. You move him, for better pieces. And you probably draft a quarterback in like the 4th or 5th round to back up Dak Prescott. That, to me, needs to be the plan. And by the way, if the Dak thing doesn't work out, you play Russ. You get what you get out of Russ. And you move up in the draft and take one of the high-end quarterbacks in this draft. Obviously, Carson Beck, Shedeur Sand. I'm not terribly high on Shedeur because of the character stuff, beefing with people on Twitter. You got some other quarterback. Quinn Ewers, I'm not sure about him. There's some solid, high upside quarterbacks in this upcoming 2025 draft. Not to the level I thought was in this past draft, but better long-term upside options for the Steelers, and certainly what they have right now with Russ and Justin Fields. So in the here and now, as well as the long term, I think Mike Tomlin made the right decision starting Russ. Russ is for his faults, he's a veteran. He'll win you some games here or there. He's a better option than what you had a year ago, and we'll see what we'll see from the Pittsburgh Steelers. I've got most of my predictions for the upcoming football season mostly set in stone to be revealed next week. The Steelers are one of the few that I have not. I do not have a strong conviction when it comes to my football team. Maybe it's because of my own internal bias. I want my team to be successful, but I know that there's a ceiling because of the quarterback play, not because of the roster. So I think this is the right call for Pittsburgh. I prefer Justin Fields not start too many, if any, games at all so you can preserve his value, because Fields not be the long-term answer for Pittsburgh. That's not going to happen. Let Russ walk, keep Fields, use him as maybe an asset, and go all out. The standard in Pittsburgh, Mike Tomlin, the standard is the standard. That's his famous catchphrase. Well, the standard in the Steel City is 6 Super Bowl championships, tied for the most with the New England Patriots. The standard in Pittsburgh is smart football, hard-nosed football, and playing big games in January and February. You give Dak Prescott stability for the first time in his almost decade-long career. You give him an elite coach for the first time in his decade-long career after he almost won MVP a year ago with Mike McCarthy. Like McCarthy, he's not Mike Tomlin. That goes without saying. And with no other perimeter threats outside of CeeDee Lamb. Give him the weapons in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh drafts wide receivers as well as anybody in the league. You give him a guy, I could be wrong on this, but a guy I think is a good offensive coordinator, not a head coach, an offensive coordinator in Arthur Smith. You've got a Super Bowl contender in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. With that defense, forget about it. TJ Watt, Minka Fitzpatrick, Patrick Queen, those guys, forget about it. So in the here and now, and in the long term, like what the Steelers did today. And by the way, I do think it was to a certain level kind of predictable. I don't think, I would have been pretty shocked if Tomlin came out today and said, Fields is the guy. That had caught me off guard. I'm not going to lie to you. But this is to me the right call. Thanks so much for watching the show on YouTube, and be sure to go click that big red subscribe button and check out the other clips and full shows from Carving It Up Live, as well as our other incredible content creators here on the Grid Network.